Well, thanks to Equestria Daily, as of yesterday, and I posted this up at the MLP forums, we now know what the synopsis and the title for the 24th episode, the episode before the two-part finale, is going to be. And the title for the 24th episode is going to be called The Big Mac Question. And if you don't believe me, you can confirm this with Equestria Daily. Now, basically, this episode is going to be a Big Mac, Applejack, and, you might guessed it, Sugar Belle episode. Because if you take the name Mac, or the word Mac, out of the title, it basically, and you slot big just right in the middle, it's basically entitled The Big Question. And if it's a story that involves Big Mac and Sugar Belle, and you also have Applejack there as well, then you know what that big question for Big Mac is going to be, or what that question's going to be. And pretty much Mighty Muffins on Twitter kind of confirmed exactly what basically we're going to be getting with the 24th episode, and that is Big Mac, popping the question to Sugar Belle. And this is something we all pretty much knew was coming, or we all pretty much saw was coming, because of the fact that this all started several seasons ago, basically back in season 7, with Hard to Say Anything. It was followed up with the breakup breakdown, and now I should say it's possibly being concluded with the Big Mac question. The only question that we have besides what we're pretty much sensing and seeing coming is, will they just do the proposal and end the episode like that? Or will they do the proposal and the wedding all in one episode? You see, that's the question, because, shows and comics have been known to do this, especially if they are tight for time and they want to try to wrap a lot of things up, a lot of loose ends. And, one would not be surprised if they would do this. Another would not be surprised if they held off to the end of the series, which either way would make sense. But we'll have to wait and see. But I will say this. This was, let's be honest, and I'm doing this on the fly, unscripted, but let's be honest, we all pretty much saw this coming. The fact that it all began, like I said, with Hard to Say Anything in season 7, and that it continued on the second episode centered around these two in season 8 with the breakdown, and now we have the Big Mac question. Basically, we have the trifecta. We have the trilogy being completed here in season 9. And you know what's funny? I would not put it past Shout Factory or Hasbro or DHX Media to condense all 3 of these episodes, when it's all said and done, into one compilation DVD, maybe along with some other episodes. But I would not put it past DHX Media and Hasbro and Shout Factory to be like, hey, there's money to be made here, especially with Valentine's Day coming up. Why not we condense these 3 episodes into a movie? Yeah, here's the thing. They've been known to do stuff like that. Studios, DVD, Blu-ray distributors have been known to do that. They've been known to take 3 episodes, even though those episodes could air and debut in different seasons, especially if those seasons are back to back to back to back. They've been known to condense them together as one movie. Like, they could go and add a little something in there, like saying chapter 2 or year 2, the breakup breakdown deal, or chapter 3, year 3, the Big Mac question. They could do that, and it would sell, especially if you're a fan of MLP. Something like this would probably sell. And again, I would not, like I said, I would not put it past DHX Media, Hasbro, Allspark Animation, or even Shout Factory to try to do something like that when the time is right. Maybe as soon as next year, but we'll have to wait and see. But this obviously was the route they had to go. This was the obvious route. And you know what's funny about this? Is even though we didn't get many Big Mac Sugar Belle centered episodes, in between the 3 that are happening, we did get hints and acknowledgments. We did get moments. Best gift ever, despite how you feel about the moment there. That happened. You take, those moments happen, I should say. You take a look at The Last Crusade and the moment they had in that moment where they're standing next to each other lovingly in celebration of the Cutie Mark Crusaders. I mean, again, we have had moments. Heck, what was it, about an episode or 2 after Hard to Say Anything, we saw them walking up the hill from Sweet Apple Acres, and somebody pointed out what looked like to be a gazebo, a wedding-like gazebo in the background, probably hinting at what would come or what would be. And to me, the way they've done this makes a lot of sense, because you're gradually trying to, from a realistic standpoint and natural standpoint, grow this into something believable, into something that, here are your episodes, here's the stories to help progress these episodes, develop these characters, develop this relationship, help it grow, show that they're going through different, like I said, show them going through different situations, ups and downs. I mean, it's basically what they're doing is they're doing it the correct way. They're doing it the very correct way, and in a way that's very simple and understandable. It's basically being done in a KISS way, keep it simple, stupid way. And that's what they're doing. They're keeping the scenarios simple and understandable, not just for kids, but for all ages, especially the adults, and mostly the adults as well when it comes to this kind of moment. And the fact that you're now going to involve Applejack, that's going to be interesting in its own right, because in the last 2 episodes that centered around Sugar Belle, in Big Mac, we've never had Applejack really interact that much with Sugar Belle outside of maybe meeting her at the end of the season 5 2-part premiere, and that's about it. So it's going to be really interesting how Applejack is utilized in this episode. And one has to think that Big Mac wants to get the approval, wants to get the blessing, not just of Granny Smith, but of Applejack, and basically saying, is it okay if I pop the question to Sugar Belle and make her a part of our family, so, we can possibly, continue the legacy of Sweet Apple Acres. It's going to be really interesting how Applejack is utilized here. So I cannot wait for it. I mean, when you think about it too, think who's been utilized and has played a part in these episodes. Okay, you had the CMCs, play an integral part in the first episode. You had Spike and Discord play a part in the second episode. Now you're having Applejack play one as well. And get this, there are reasonings behind it. There are several reasonings why those characters have been involved. The CMCs, mostly Big Mac is Apple Bloom's brother. And, they want to see him happy. They want him to get that significant other. And thus, that's kind of a reference back to, Hearts and Hooves Day? In the situation that they put Big Mac and Cherry Lee through. And then, you take a look at Breakup Breakdown and the involvement of Spike in Discord, and the fact that Spike is helping Big Mac out from a romantic sense, because, Spike's situation with Rarity, and heck, Spike, like I said in a previous video, or previous videos in the past, even exemplified that by reading a poem he made for Rarity to Discord. And even Discord himself kind of shying away a little bit when Spike would point out, oh yeah, you just like to go to Fluttershy for tea, and that's all, really. You really just want to spend time with Fluttershy for tea. Really? Is that all it is? So they played a role because of those specific reasons. And now you got Applejack, and it comes all full circle, because now Applejack, again, who knows how she's going to be utilized, what role she's going to play. I mean, obviously off screen and off panel, she's had time to get to know Sugar Belle, but the question is she ready for this moment? And there's many ways you could look at as to why Big Mac would want to do this. You could look at many reasons. One, he realizes, hey, Applejack, you're going to be a ruler of Equestria, or at least a sub-ruler, or a dignitary or ambassador, whatever, for Twilight, over Equestria. You won't be here that much. We need to keep the family, legacy going. So maybe Big Mac feels bringing Sugar Belle in as an official part of the family, making her an apple, if you will continue the family legacy now that, Applejack's going to have more responsibilities as a possible ruler or dignitary for Equestria on behalf of Twilight. So it's going to be really intriguing. And, what rule, and then you take a look at Apple Bloom and what role and what her future lies in. A lot of people are predicting, even Disney Fanatic put this into his stories, that, the Cutie Mark Crusaders will become a band basically down the line and go off and tour, and that's a possibility. And maybe Big Mac brings something up like that. Who knows? The fact of the matter is this. The Big Mac question is the final episode in this trifecta, and it's now it's going to bring in the most essential part in the entire situation, and that is Applejack. And basically, how is Applejack going to approach this whole situation with her brother, popping the question to Sugar Belle? Is he going to ask Applejack for advice on how he should approach it? Is he going to, again, like I said, explain to Applejack that, hey, you're going to be doing this now. We need to carry on the family legacy somehow, so, bringing Sugar Belle in could help out. Whatever it may be. Whatever the situation is that Applejack's going to be put in when it comes to this, I guarantee this. You want a decent finale for Applejack? Give her a decent role, a role that people will love and enjoy and feel believable and relatable to with her? Then this could be it. This right here with the Big Mac question could be it. I'm not saying it would be, but I have this definite feeling it's going to be. We'll just have, like I said, I know I'm repeating this a lot, saying it, but we'll have to wait and see what they got planned. But for me, and a lot of other fans, we pretty much predicted and saw that this was coming, that they were going to go the trilogy route, and that by going the trilogy route, they were going to give us that the third and possible last episode in this was going to be the proposal and maybe even the wedding, and that maybe some of us believe this as well, that maybe it was going to tie into being the last Applejack focused episode as well. Like, she's going to share the spotlight with Big Mac and Sugar Belle. So it's going to be really interesting. I cannot wait to see this. Knowing the series, though, it's going to premiere basically the week before the finale, early release, I should say, in China, which would be about the 23rd of this month. So we'll either have till then to wait or a lot later. So that's all I can really say on it, guys. What are your thoughts, though, on the Big Mac question being the 24th episode in the series? What are your thoughts on how do you think it's going to play out? What role do you think Applejack's going to play in it? How do you think she'll be utilized? What do you think would be the reasoning for this finally happening? Let me know what your thoughts are. Comment down below. I got to get back into work now before I get in trouble. And I will talk to y'all later. God bless. Take care. But let me know what you guys all think about the Big Mac question coming soon. Maybe sooner than we think. But talk to y'all later. God bless. Take care. Let me know what you guys think.